Eleonora, do you remember that Bob Dylan song, The Times They Are Changing? It says, the order is rapidly fading and the first one now will later be last. Do you think this describes the disruptive change that has happened in music with the advent of streaming?
Nice comparison, I need to think about it.
In my research with Paola Zanella from CUNEF Madrid and Gianmario Verona from Bocconi, we discovered that when streaming was introduced within the Billboard charts, there was indeed a change in the top 100 positions, but it was not so disruptive as one would probably expect. Indeed, more indies made it to the chart, thus showing a higher consumer need for variety, but majors still hanged on top positions. This was a very important information shock for firms, showing that streaming was really changing the music business. Does this describe what you have observed as head of digital within Universal Music Group in Italy?
Yeah, sure. You can observe these trends in charts clearly. In the streaming era, independent artists have more space. It's easier for them to reach a wider number of listeners, building a proper fan base. At the same time, listeners consume a wider variety of music of different genres, and there is a high demand of new music on a daily basis.
Also, we find that when music firms face new information from the charts, which show the relevance of streaming in their competitors' portfolio, still incumbents experience hard time in adjusting. Only when they have understood very well the picture, they challenge their long-standing strategy and finally change. Of course, the scope of this change depends on the resources that are available to them. From your perspective, how do you explain this result?
With the first digital revolution, majors have learned how important it is to adapt to changes. Nevertheless, understanding what is going on and finding the right way to adapt takes a longer time for a bigger structure where a specific culture is deeply rooted. Yet, majors are the only firms with enough resources to cover such a wide portfolio of music genres and to finance a continuous flow of new releases.
Coming to the specific strategies, our data show that portfolio novelty is a winning strategy, allowing firms to intercept this higher consumer need for variety. Also, we observe that firms with the broader experience perform better because they are able to produce more songs across different genres. We estimate that firms' performance differential before and after the streaming ranges from minus 23% to plus 81% of its monthly revenues.
It sounds perfectly reasonable. Despite the COVID pandemic, the global recorded music market grew by 7.4% in 2020. Total revenues for 2020 were $21.6 billion, the highest value in the last 20 years since the digital disruption impacted the music business. This was only possible thanks to streaming, which accounted more than 60% of total revenues. Clearly, firms need to strategically manage this opportunity.